Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. A really interesting conversation with both this film maker and the mayor of Chatham, talking about local communities helping out to incentivize the development of film product in Canada and in small town Canada, Chatham, and also, kind of interesting hearing about horror films and that genre. And a filmmaker a young filmmaker in Canada that's done numerous films in that horror genre. So I want to talk a little bit, if I could, about TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, and government supporting film in general. I was involved in raising some money for a film a couple of years ago that was filmed in Italy as well as in Canada, and it ended up being a big success. And it was a great film, and it was motivational, it was inspirational, it had a great message. The acting was excellent, and the cinematography was spectacular. I think that film would never have gotten off if it hadn't been for government incentives and support. And so therefore you got to ask yourself why. And I think one of the challenges that we have in Canada is that we're a small market relative to the United States. And even in the United States, there's this huge magnetic pull to Hollywood, Los Angeles, et cetera, which is probably too bad for the rest of the United States. So if we want to actually have Canadian content, I think we need to have some government support. And unlike, earlier this week, I did a story on housing where I think government has really been a problem. Here, government isn't trying to tell you what you've got to film and who the actors are and where you got to go. They're just giving you incentives and they're helping you. That's the role government, I think, at times should play, and not get involved in trying to be the director or the producer, but helping it with tax incentives, with location services, with advertising, communication, promotion, etc. And TIFF is a great example. I went to a show last week at TIFF. It was a gala. It was an excellent show. Excellent. And we need more of that in Canada. And I think that, the sponsors, both provincial and federal government, as well as all the corporate sponsors, put on a good show, such it's the thing to do in September in Toronto. And lots of people want to get dressed up and go. And the crowds downtown and the lineups to get into the films were amazing. Quebec is interesting because Quebec really does have a distinct culture. I've heard numerous times this story about the Sunday night show that, almost all of Quebec tunes in to listen to, sort of like when I was a kid, how we all tuned in to listen to Ed Sullivan. And I think that culture can be unifying. Film can be unifying. Music can be unifying. There's nothing like being in a concert where everyone sings together. It's building a communal community. And I think that's wonderful. And film can do that as well when everyone cries together or laughs together. The standing ovation when everyone realizes what they've seen is just spectacular. So I do think that government has a role to help Canadian culture. We're just too small to compete in filmed entertainment, in TV, in music, in theater, with the juggernaut elephant United States to the south. And we're not distinct enough, like Quebec is, to exist on our own, I think, without those supports. And I think that picking out, interesting locations like a prison in Chatham, and interesting genres like horror film is a great idea. So what am I saying? I am saying this weekend, go out to a show at TIFF. And if not that, see if you can maybe go to Stratford or the Shaw Festival, or, downtown to some of the local theater that we have here in Toronto. Let's support local restaurants, local bars, local performers, local filmed entertainment, local theater, because if we don't, it's not going to survive. And with our support of that, government will see the demand and see that we support it, and will come along to support it as well. And you'll have a lot of fun and enjoy yourself at the same time. Anyway, everyone, have a great weekend. I have had a really interesting week this week. I had really a good argument with our new morning man on Monday. On Tuesday, I talked real estate and I had my 10-point plan for the housing crisis that we're in. On Wednesday, I had a really interesting discussion with a professor from Montreal about competitiveness and prosperity and a growth agenda, and that we don't have one in Canada and that we desperately need to increase our productivity. On Thursday, I had a really interesting discussion with a professor from U of T that's launching a course on relationships. And he has had over 200, almost 200,000 people that have gone through this course. And I think that he has a lot of really interesting and good and smart things to say. I'm interested in taking the course. The interview was, I thought, really interesting. And then today we talked about filmed entertainment, specifically horror films and Chatham, but it's applicable to Mississauga, to Toronto, to any community across this country. And I just wanted to underline how important I think local radio and TV is, local performance arts, and Canadian content. So please consider going out, signing up for my YouTube, and going to your local restaurant, local bar, and support your local theater and support Canadian content. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.